Hello everybody, thank you all for coming, thank you for joining us. Yes, today we have a great topic and we're going to be talking about it together as a dialogue. The idea is that we're going to make this quick to the point and so that everybody can learn. So let's go ahead and start it. So yes, I just ask if you are coming on to please mute yourself when you're here, and then there will be a time for us to talk, and I'll be able to unmute everybody so that you can talk. Yes, but as you're coming on, please make sure that you're muted so that your background noise doesn't mess up others. Alrighty, so yes, let's go ahead and start it. So the topic, as I mentioned, is going to be a big road on ELDs, hours of service. However, before that, I just want to really quickly talk about our approach or our way. I think that with it, it will be a lot easier for everything to for everybody to understand. Yes, but I actually had an owner-operator ask me this week, which was probably the best question, is why self-dispatched owner-operator? And it really is the core of how we're doing it, because we are not a company with drivers. And this understanding of, well, what about other companies? They're doing it this way. Why aren't you doing it? So I just wanted to touch base on that a little bit. And here. I need to manage this too, so admit. Yeah, I gotta put up the volume so I can hear who's coming in to be able to let them join. Just FYI. Okay. So drivers versus owner-operators, employees versus independent contractor. Yes, the question that I had was, Peter, why, when it comes to PDP, everything has to do with contract termination? Why is it always about terminating? It's so rude. It's just, how could you be saying stuff like that? So at the core, it comes to a couple things that I want everybody to understand. Yes, let me, please, as you come in, I'll be muting you, just FYI. Okay. But there's three things that you have to look, and a lot of them contradict each other, which is creating problems. But the first one that I want to mention is the common law in the United States states that the difference between employees versus independent contractor has to do with three things. Okay. Sorry, I'm just admitting people also. There you go. Yes, three things. Behavior control. So the instruction, the training, the use of your own method, all of that is behavior control. Who controls how you do the job, basically. Second is financial control. And it has to do with significant investment, opportunity for profit and loss, to give the independent contractor ability to, and freedom, to basically either be successful or not. And then thirdly is relationship. What kind of relationship is it? A lot of other companies, they do contractual relations. There's always a contract for owner-operators. However, how about in fact? You can have one thing to have the contract, but another is to treat them as drivers still. Which is why, in my opinion, whenever you have a company that says, oh, we don't do forced dispatch, but yet they only give you 2 loads to choose from, and then when you don't choose it, they punish you for it. I mean, that's in fact, treating you as a driver. You ain't an owner-operator. So then, second answer would be IRS. IRS has their own way how they gauge if you're a driver or an owner operator, and they have this 20-factor question test, which I'm not going to go into at all, but the idea is this is all available for everybody, and I will share my notes with everybody so you can read this for yourself. But the ones I want to point out is on the training. This is very, very gray area for us that I am trying to be careful, not to go into and cross the line. But the idea is, if you have training control, okay, if the driver or owner operator is required to show up to some kind of training, or to show performance, on how your work and all of that, that shows you're a driver, not an owner operator. So PDP, we're offering coaching. We're trying, who's ever willing, we're trying to give you a chance to improve. Yes, but I'll talk more about this in a later time. But the idea is, there's a very fine line. So there's some things we can do, but we can't go about and just forcing you on this. It's your will as an owner operator to do it or not. You can ignore it completely, and that's totally fine per IRS. Integration is another kind of hard question to answer, because the idea is, well, if you're a driver or an employee, then you are completely integrated into one company and you cannot switch back and forth. And for us, it wouldn't be, the only reason why we're having set up the way we are, it's not because we don't want to. If we could have, we would have, but because of FMCSA regulations, which override this, and insurance, which override this, we basically are, that's the way it has to be. Yes, with us and with all the other carriers. That's why you don't see that as common, for other, not trucking related, I would say, independent contractor. Yes, and there's a whole bunch of them. Again, I'm just going to skip through a lot of these, and I'll send you the notes. You can read on this. Another big one that I want to mention is, actually, I just kind of mentioned it. Yeah, is to be able to work for more than one company. Like if you're an owner operator, you have to basically, independent contractor, you have to work for any company that you like. And at PDP, it's kind of true, because the self-dispatch component, you're able to book any loads that you like. You're able to literally negotiate with anybody you like. It has to be under one MC, PDP, because of FMCSA. However, you are able to just literally go anywhere. Yeah, so, and I have included some websites links to this too, so that you guys can check this out for yourself. Yes, but similar questions to that as well. Other companies have driver discipline action, they have driver training. Why not PDP? Other big companies have owner operators, and what's the big deal? They have training and all this other stuff. Why doesn't PDP? Well, the answer is, just because others are doing it, it don't mean that it's correct. That's why you have these lawsuits, specifically in California and a lot of these states where it's crazy. They are being misclassified, and there's all these lawsuits. So, but it's very, very important that the owner-operators are treated as owner-operators. In fact, not just have the contracts, but then treated as drivers. Yeah, so if you think about it, all of these laws, the IRS, the common law, they all have kind of same idea, which is, who has the control. And in our case at PDP, you have full control. You have full control over how, when, and where you drive. We cannot legally, narrow that down. And then financial success or loss, and then in fact as independent contractor, not just by the contract. Okay, so with all of that said, there's big consequences for misqualification of employees. Y'all know this. I'm not gonna go into it too much. Yes, and in conclusion, I just want to basically make sure you understand that you are not a driver. You are not a driver at PDP. You are a self-dispatched owner-operator. You have, the freedom to be your own boss, which is why, legally, technically, we cannot micromanage you. Okay, I believe in freedom and not micromanaging. I believe that you can do that because you're an adult and you are the boss. Okay, you're your own boss. So again, PDP cannot legally, force you to do it like like a company with drivers. So with that said, what do we have as a company, as PDP? Well, and that's the thing. IRS sees it one way, FMCSA sees it different way, because FMCSA doesn't care who is the driver or owner-operator. They don't have the difference. And they look at it as, we just want to make sure that the roads are safe. Okay, with logs, with maintenance, everything when it comes to regulating, they just want to make sure it's safe. So they put responsibility on the carrier. My neck is on the line for all of it, obviously. And that's why we have the contract, the BTO contract between PDP and yourself. And looking at all of this, we're able to, if you look throughout the whole contract, there's the contract termination and fees. Those are the only two things that we got in order to basically enforce these. Yes, okay, so I hope all of that is understandable. If you have any questions about that, you can let me know, but I'm gonna skip to the actual hours of service. Okay, hours of service. Yeah, so we actually just came out with an update that effective, I think, Friday. We implemented Big Road, and from then on, today, if you don't have your logs properly, if you don't have, them signed, or if there's a violation, the office personnel will not be able to push it to the next level, to dispatch or payment or such. So make sure you have all of that set up. Make sure it's all correct and you don't have violations on there. Yes, the idea is you, the owner-operator, have to understand and know what the rules are with hours of service. You hired us, the trucking service company, I guess you can say, to be able to help you make sure you're compliant safely and make sure you're able to produce money. And that's what the approach is. That's the idea is. Yes, but you have to know what is allowed and what's not allowed per FMCSA regulations, which is why I will tell you, it doesn't really matter what I say here or what anybody else says. It's what the FMCSA says. What does the FMCSA says about the logs? Okay? I ask every owner-operator to, whenever you're looking for a source of what is and what isn't, look to the actual direct source. Don't look at, what somebody told you sometime long ago, or if you heard something on gossip, Yes, but just I wanted to mention, hey, from what I understand, from what I know, This is what I'll be talking about today. If I do make a mistake, please let me know, because obviously I want to learn. And if there's any updates, please let me know. I actually like it when some of you owner ops call me and say, well, did you know that and this? Yes, that's awesome. I try to keep up with all of that, but it's awesome that I like it when you do that, because that makes me feel also good to know that somebody else out there is doing their job and they know what they're doing, which is the definition of a professional truck driver or professional owner operator. That's what's important. So again, it's not about what you feel what is right or what you feel what could be wrong, with the hours of service or with. It's about what the law says and what you have to do to make sure you're compliant. What is the I have this now. Is your or my truth correct? It needs to be based on what is legal and true, not what you think is true. Yes. Okay. So there's a lot of it that I wrote down, but let me just go over that stuff that I went last week. Make sure that you are accepting unassigned driving, and make sure that you are not ignoring them. You always have to accept them and then integrate them into your logs. Before you drive, it's best to open Big Road, plug into charger and make sure the 3 lights are on, and then start driving. Make sure you have a good tablet or phone that has good internet. AT&T, Verizon are preferred. Sprint and T-Mobile are also okay, but anything else, I wouldn't even, just don't do it, because you need to be able to transfer that information to DOT upon request. Yes, but there are a couple of things changing coming up soon. And in September 29th, which is at the end of, in 1 month, there's 3 changes that are coming up. Short haul exemptions, adverse driving conditions exemptions, and then 30-minute break requirements, and then sleeper berth provision. So if you have any questions on that, but again, I can share this with you again. And this is a lot of information, I know. Here, let's do this. Does anybody have any questions about anything I said, or let's just say about the logs that I just mentioned, the updates? And I'm gonna ask for everybody to be unmuted. You can also message me if you like. Anybody?
Peter.
Yes.
Hey, I got a question. In regards to that binder, with all the information in it, as far as the UCR and everything else, and you had us taking all these pictures and all this other stuff, the stuff that you guys already sent us from the office?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. For the profit and losses that I've taken this year in regards to paying PDP, could it be a better way for that to be managed versus I'm sitting there taking a bunch of pictures of something that you already sent me, where I send you my old binder, you send me with the new binder, and that's just that?
Okay, so
and then you know who has what.
Yes, there's 2 reasons why we did that form. There's 2 reasons why we did that form, and please understand why we did it. It's not because we want to give you more work, okay, than you already have. The idea, one, is we obviously need to make sure that everything is correct and true in there, and it's all up to date. If we have a lot of logs or a lot of paperwork that's not correct, we've been getting violations for owner operators that don't have the documents because it's not updated, it's out of dated. because the owner-operator has been with us so long, and we send the documents at some point, but it was never printed or something, or it wasn't maintained. If you do come here, or if you send us and we can do all of that. But then the reason number 2 is come into play. We've actually gotten some violations for owner-operators that had the document in their binder because we literally just put it in there. But the owner-operator doesn't know what each paper represents, and then we get a violation, and it goes on your record, it goes on our record, because the owner-operator just gave that binder, or in some ways maybe threw that binder into the DOT's hands and said, here, figure it out. But the problem with that is a lot of times they will go through it, but some, I don't know, whatever the case, he just doesn't feel like going through that binder and he wants to give you crap. And he's gonna say, you know what? Do you have the document? Well, yeah, it's all there. No, do you have the document? Well, it's in here, but it's in here. Hold on, that makes it very unprofessional. And then overall, he sees that you don't even know what papers you got. So again, it's not that we want to give you more work. Okay, if you come here, we can give you the binder, not a problem. We can mail you another binder, that's not a problem. The thing is, you have to understand as an owner-operator what each paper represents. And if you don't know what that is, you're gonna get a failed inspection, and that's gonna go on your record. So that's what we're trying to prevent, basically, and solve. I hope that answers. Yeah, so let's continue a little bit. Okay, yeah, so let's continue with the hours of service. And we're actually we're at 30 minutes, so I don't know. This whole idea of doing 30 minutes probably ain't gonna work. Yes, if you guys are fine to continue, we can. But the idea is, there's a lot to talk about. I'm pretty sure every single topic is going to be big, but I want it to be more about hours of service. I mean, thank you, Philip, for bringing that up. Yes, but as far as hours of service, let's hear some questions about hours of service. Logs. Anybody has any questions about that?
I got a question.
Yes, go ahead, Andrew.
Yes, I do a lot of short haul, and I know with the hours of service, it's going to increase the radius from 100 to 150 air miles. So I guess the question was, I know the state doesn't require you to use the e-log, but with PDP, are we still going to be required to use the log for short haul?
Yes. Okay, and there's actually a proper way to log it. Are you talking about what kind of trailer do you have again? You have a reefer, right?
I have a dry van.
Okay, dry van. All right. What are you hauling?
I haul a lot of auto parts.
Okay, and it's all within around your home. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much, yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so you can still clock in the same way how you would. I mean, you wouldn't change any of that. The reason why we require to still do it with the logs, because occasionally you do have to go out, okay, if you had to. And you can. And then you're already set up for that. But also because of the company, how we're set up as a over-the-road. And if DOT comes in like they did, they can audit anything and anybody, and when they look into it, yes, I mean, per loads we'll be able to see, the radius and stuff like that. But if even one was a little bit out, the idea is this: the hours of service is different depending on what you haul and how you haul it. We also have another person within our midst who hauls hopper bottom, and he does a good job with that. And yeah, so there's special stuff for him
Right
when
here,
it comes
Peter.
to logs. Yes, I know. I just didn't want to say the name, but you said. Yeah, but the idea is we have a little bit special, in this and that, and that's totally fine. We're capable to manage it, but the idea is PDP does not allow paper logs. And for the setup that we have, because you are able to head out farther if you need to, that's why we need you to use the logs. Yeah.
Peter,
Go ahead.
in the drop down tab, you'll be able to click on, and basically you put in the miles you start, and at the end of the day you put in the ending miles, and that's how they're going to be able to do short hauls, because I've done the short hauls. But please keep in mind, DOT requires that you have a paper log book on your truck.
Yep.
In the event that your ELDs go down. You must keep that in mind. If you don't have that paper logbook, that's a huge fine.
Yep. Yeah, you still gotta have it.
It's about $2,500.
Yeah, you still gotta have it, but even though we don't allow it, you still gotta have it. That's true. And the idea is
for the guy that's running, what I was going to say, Peter.
Yeah.
I mentioned it to you. For the guy that's running short haul, there's an app you can download on your phone. It's called Map Circle, and what you do, it's an app you download on your phone, and any driver can use it. And what it does is whenever you go to get loaded, you pinpoint your location, and you go in there and put 150 air miles, and it automatically gives you a circle. Anything done within that circle falls under that radius, because 150 air miles, it's 172.5 miles in a straight line. And if any driver that's been out here for a while knows, 95% of the time when you drive, you don't drive in a straight line, because you got up and down, you got left and right curves, you got to make turns. So therefore, you're 172. A lot of my ag loads that I'll haul that are 150 air radius from the commodity, I might hit 180, 200, 210 miles before I actually get to the edge of that circle.
that brings up
air radius.
Yeah, that brings up a good point, and I'm trying to make this just across the board type of blanket answer for all of this. Logs, there's different things that y'all can do, and we have no problem with you doing that, as long as if it's legal, as long as if within the laws, sure. But you gotta know what those things are before you start driving. Don't second guess what I heard at the truck stop. No, you have to know what those are. It also actually brings up a similar thing with all of these exemptions. You guys know that there's an exemption, couple exemptions we've had this year because of COVID, because of, now the hurricane. And with all of that...
It's still active right now, too.
Yes, and with all of that, you have to know what that is. You can't just, there's an exemption out there, so I can just throw away the log. No, you have to know what those laws are. I would recommend to have that printed and make sure you go by the book. When it comes to the air miles, if you're doing short haul or, the hopper bottom, you gotta know all of that, and you gotta prepare for if DOT pulls you over. They're gonna look into it. Don't expect that they will be dumb enough, to just it's too much of a hassle. That's kind of a challenge for them to see. Let me test my knowledge, what I just learned, at the police academy. So you gotta know all of this stuff before you head out, and that's what I'm trying to teach you or tell you. There's exemptions, there's all of this. We are totally okay with that. If it's not by the book, then you have a problem with me. If you kind of shaky about it because you heard it from somewhere but you're not sure, you're gonna have a problem with me. Okay, you gotta know what it is and stuff like that.
When are they going to do away with the 14-hour rule?
At the end of September, yes. They have a change to it so that it's a little bit different. I don't think it's gonna completely go away, but the idea is it's gonna make it easier with the 30-minute break.
The great idea about the new change, I've done a little research about it, is that if you use your 8-2 splits regularly, you know that you cannot really add your hours from before until you take your 8-hour break. One of the big changes now is that you can actually take your 2-hour break first, and you'll recap your hours from the previous shift. So that's a huge deal. I mean, essentially what it's allowing you to do is pause your 14 in a way that we haven't been able to do before. So
Yep.
you don't have to do 8 hours in the sleeper to get those hours back. You can do your 2-hour first. So that's great, man, especially when you get delayed at a shipper or when you need to sleep. You know, you just need that 2-hour break, but, you know, you need those hours to finish the job. So
Yep.
it's really a big it's going to be a big improvement. So.
Yep, I agree.
Well, you know, they're supposed to be doing that. They were, when originally they were talking about doing that 14-hour time stopper where you could pause your 14 for up to 3 hours. FMCSA is actually getting ready to implement a ruling. They're going to do it for up to, it's supposed to be for 1 year. They're going to put a test breakout for 1 year that's going to allow companies to have the options to let their drivers run with that exemption to where we can pause our 14 for anywhere from 30 minutes up to 3 hours, and it will pause and move your 14-hour time clock out. But upon the completion of the time clock, you will have to do a full 10. That's the only catch with that. You will not be able to do an 8 and 2. If you use the 14 time stopper, you will be required to do a 10 afterwards.
Yep. Yes, and as long as if it's available on the options, which it will be, or once it's the time, then we're definitely gonna do it. I like those options. Yes, I will say that. With that said, it's time, and we already kind of went over on 9 minutes. But yes, the idea is some changes are coming, and I'm very excited for everybody on these. I think that we're going to have a lot of improvement as we go. I mean, if you think about it, when the first ELDs just came out, there's been a lot of improvement since then. Yes, but anyway, we're going to close this up. I'm going to send the notes that I have. Yes, this is a second meeting that we had. We're going to have these every week. I want to talk about more on logs. I want to talk about maintenance. We have a change that's coming up. I'm going to be sending out to everybody this week a way to connect this new Inspect app by Fleet Complete. So that's going to be also one of the requirements for everybody. Yes, but I'm sorry. I promised 30 minutes. We're over 10 minutes now. So we will have another meeting about logs. Maybe I'll have to do more questions and answers or something like that for everybody. Next time. But anyway, yes. And so right now, thank you all. There's a video that I want to show to everybody. Just share that. You've probably seen it. Yes, but thank you and have a blessed day.